Hello everyone, my name is Jaleesa. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So I want to talk about this because it's something that I've noticed not only within myself but just within society, and it's been something that I've been working on for a very long time, and it's still a work in progress. But this topic ranges, any part of your life. You can talk about any subject and literally I can tell you why being uncomfortable is a good thing and why your uncomfortability is here to teach you something. So often we like to stick our head in the sands when something is awkward, or we just don't want to face it because it's an uncomfortable thing, or whether it's you have a pain in your side. I'll give you that example. Let's say you have a pain in your side and you don't want to go to the doctors, because I know I was one of those people, so you let it go on and on and on until it gets worse, and now you're in the hospital and your condition has worsened, and now you've racked up a ton of money in medical bills because you didn't handle it right away, because you were like, oh no, I'll wait. So that's one big example. I'll start with your body alone. When your body is uncomfortable, it is telling you a story. Whether it's your emotions, physically you feel uncomfortable, anything, energetically, no matter what it is, if you feel uncomfortable, pay attention to it. So one person may be uncomfortable in a certain situation and another person may not. So that's why it's important to listen to your own body, to be able to tune into your thoughts, to be able to tune into your heart, to be able to tune into your spirit, and to understand, what is this message? What is my spirit? What is my body trying to tell me? So if you're uncomfortable, let's say you go around somebody and every time you're around them, you're uncomfortable. Okay, well, there's a reason. The reason could be you're uncomfortable because energetically or spiritually, your spirit is trying to tell you this person is dangerous to you, or this person doesn't mean well, or this person is going to impact you negatively. Stay away. Or you could feel uncomfortable because maybe you have a type of fear or a self-limiting belief system that you don't want to face. Or maybe there needs to be a boundary set for some reason and you feel uncomfortable because of that. Either way, anytime you feel uncomfortable, it's worth exploring. In fact, I think it's essential. It's like almost like you have to explore it, because if not, the message is going to get louder. Even if it's with a different person or a different situation, lessons repeat themselves, and they tend to become harder and harder the more we ignore them. We dig a deeper hole. So that's why it's so important to listen, Or let's say you're uncomfortable with a situation, someone's acting weird. To me, in my opinion, energy is the biggest form of communication. And I've always been someone that I've picked up on energy very easily. And it's hard because I live in a society, well, we all live in this society, where people aren't always ready to be 100%. People aren't always ready to face difficult conversations or face difficult situations. Whether I've known you for 2 minutes or whether I've known you for 20 years, I'm just the type of person where I like to confront what I feel is uncomfortable for me, and I like to bring it up to other people, because a lot of times people are being passive aggressive or just plain old being passive, sweep it under the rug, and nothing ever gets settled. Then you don't have any growth within your relationships, or it leads to resentment, because now you're resenting the people that are around you, or resenting a particular person because you didn't vocalize or you didn't set boundaries, So a lot of times we have our own selves to blame, because we're not listening to our intuition. We're not listening to our inner thoughts. We're not listening to our spirit, Or maybe you're at a job and you feel exhausted all the time at this job. You're so tired all the time at the job. You have no energy for your personal life, no energy for, to take care of yourself, but you just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until you run yourself into exhaustion, or you get fired because that job wasn't meant for you anyway, and it was the best thing that happened to you. So a lot of times when we don't listen, then decisions are made for us, and that is not a good place to be in. It's not necessarily about having control. It's about how you're walking your path, how you're being guided along the path. Do you want your path to be one that has all these like bumpy roads and like ditches, and every time you're driving down the road you get a flat tire or something needs to be fixed? Your car's constantly in the shop because you're not paying attention to the road. And that's the best metaphor I could give. Like, if you were to pay attention to the road and you're like, oh, I feel like something ahead, I see something ahead, and it looks like oh, let me swerve, you know? Your body, your mind, your spirit is always speaking to you. The universe is always speaking to you, you know? Maybe you are feeling uncomfortable in your relationship with your partner, you know? Maybe you and your lover, you know, are at a certain particular stage, and it could just mean that there needs to be conversations in your relationship that you're not having. You're not tending to the relationship, so it's not growing because you're not speaking on things. You're just letting them be because it's easier to keep the peace. Or even in a friendship, you know, or maybe that relationship or friendship no longer is serving you, but you'd rather stay in it because that feels more comfortable to you. You know, we like to stick with things that are comfortable to us because it's familiar. Whereas the unknown, it seems scarier. But in reality, it's like, okay, things are constantly changing. So which one are you going to pick? You know, you're never going to ruin something that's meant for you by having an honest conversation. You know, and if you do, then it wasn't meant to be to begin with, and you're saving yourself the time and the trouble. So pay attention. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to what you're trying to tell yourself. You need your own attention. Pay attention to you. So if something doesn't feel right, I don't care what it's about. I don't care if you dropped your child off at the babysitter and the babysitter is the nicest person in the world, but you just don't feel right. And I'll even give this example, like, not to put my sister out there, but she used to come home and bring guys home, like, when we were younger. And I literally would meet them for like 2 seconds, like not 2 seconds, but it wouldn't be that long. And then I'd be like, nope, don't like them. And she would get so upset because she'd be like, you don't even know him. Like, how can you just tell me no? And I'm like, I already know. No, I don't. But I don't like him. I already know. And I would be right every single time. And I didn't take pride in being right. I didn't want to be right. But I also was not going to ignore what I felt. And I followed that. And I feel that a lot of times when we don't follow that inner guidance is when we mess up. When we're like, darn, I should have paid attention. Or maybe we're so far removed from ourselves that we don't even think, darn, I should have paid attention. We're like, there were no signs. There wasn't anything there. Nothing presented itself as weird. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but most of the time, if you're really listening to your inner voice, like, pay attention to your dreams. That is one big thing. Like, I pay attention to my dreams all the time. And a lot of people do not pay attention to their dreams at all. When your dreams are like the deepest part of your psyche. A lot of the things we do, how we react, it's so subconscious that we don't even realize it. But your dreams, that's when they come to light. Your dreams give you so many messages. I can't even tell you how many times I've had a dream and it came true. Or it was telling me the importance of someone in my life, or the need to let something go, or telling me what I needed to pay attention to in my life. So I always pay attention to my dreams. I pay attention when I meditate, if there's a message that comes up. If there's a random thought that pops in my mind, now I'm like, why did I think that? I listen to that too. And I'm not saying go crazy listening to every single thought, but it's an inner compass. Like, your inner guidance is there to show you things. So listen to that inner guidance. It's there. And the more you practice doing it, the more you'll know what messages to listen to and what it all means. Because sometimes it's you that's holding yourself back. Sometimes the uncomfortable feeling isn't someone else. Sometimes it's you. Maybe you're opening up to a new love, or someone comes into your life and they bring all of these feelings out of you, and it's like, whoa, this is uncomfortable. And it may be uncomfortable because you have trouble trusting, or it may be uncomfortable because it's challenging your views or challenging your current relationships. But you should lean into that. You know, you should dive into it. That's what I would say, because I'm just like, whoop, let's go there. That's all I wanted to say. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a good thing. And whenever you feel uncomfortable, explore it. Explore it with curiosity. You don't have to explore it with judgment. You don't have to jump to conclusions. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. But the one takeaway I would say from this whole thing is pay attention to when you feel uncomfortable. If you're not feeling well, pay attention to that. If you have a headache, oh, I've had a headache for the past 2 weeks. Pay attention to it. You know, there's so many times too, people have gone to the doctors and they find out later they had cancer or they have some other terminal illness. Now, if anything goes wrong, I pay attention to it right away. If someone is, I feel, acting weird to me, I don't sit there and be like, you know what? Oh, well, what did I do wrong? Or why are they ignoring me? You know? Oh, no, I'll ask, like, hey, is everything okay? Now, if they say everything's okay, it's not up to you to figure out. It's not your job to think for other people. So when it comes to our interactions with others, I would say, yes, confront it. If someone's acting weird all of a sudden, it may reveal to you that maybe you might have an issue with your attachment style. And that's a discussion I'll have at another time. But our attachment styles are how we relate to people and how we receive and give love, and also how we perceive what love is and things like that. So it's like the issue could be you, you know, maybe you're feeling uncomfortable because you have abandonment issues and someone got busy and they didn't respond to you, and you're worried, oh my God, are they, you know, are they mad at me? That has something to do with security. And now you're going to be talking about, are you securing yourself? Are you secure in your relationships and your connections? Or maybe something happened in the past in that relationship and you're not over it. So it's like, okay, or maybe that person really is acting weird and they have the problem communicating and they don't know how to communicate. So they're acting weird to you. And you asking them is you're being the one that's honest. By you asking them, you're leaning into something that's feeling off or something that may feel uncomfortable, and you're basically peeling back the layers of the onion. Now, if someone doesn't also want to participate in that authentic connection with you, to be honest and say, hey, this is what it is, or this is how I feel, or if they're lying, now, and if that's another thing, maybe they tell you everything's fine and you still feel that it's not, because I've dealt with those situations too, because I'm very perceptive and I can see through things very easily. If it's right, you know, if I'm dealing with it. So if someone's acting odd and I ask them and they say no, nothing's wrong, and I know something's still wrong because my intuition is telling me you're lying, and my lie detector is going off because I have a pretty big lie detector, and I can't stand when people aren't upfront and honest. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's something I've had to learn how to navigate around. So, but I don't change who I am. If I feel, you know, if I feel it's worth to address, then I'll address it. Some things aren't worth your attention and your time to even bother addressing, and you just got to let it go. And that's something else too. But that also has to do with your inner guidance. Like I said, maybe you need to release the relationship, or maybe you just need to give it space, you know, and just allow things to be. So either way, being uncomfortable is telling you a story about your life, about yourself, about your body, about your relationships. So lean into the uncomfortability as to why you feel uncomfortable and explore it. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, hit the like button below. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also hit the bell so that way you can be alerted to any time that I post things. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every last one of you, and I hope that you received something positive or helpful from this video. Mwah. Thank you. Take care.